LGBT venues in Hull say they're devastated after being excluded from all parts of this year's Pride in the City. The 2017 celebration, which takes place later this month, is part of the City of Culture calendar and includes a whole week of events to mark 50 years since homosexuality was decriminalised in the UK. But Fuel nightclub has made a formal statement on behalf of the city's bars after it says local venues were shunned by Pride organisers. Claire Simpson is the club's operations manager.
Previous years, Pride have sort of relied on community involvement for fundraising and support with infrastructure. This year they seem to have gained quite a lot of finances from other areas, which is brilliant news because it means Pride's going to be bigger and better than it's ever been. But that feels like it's then been at our detriment, that we're then prevented the opportunity to be involved and give back to the community, which is what we've always wanted to do in previous years and have done successfully. You know, why not engage with what could be the potential for Pride to raise quite a considerable amount of money with our involvement, and again, not for our benefit, you know, to benefit Pride in that community. It's just a way that we give back, but we've just not been given that opportunity. It's disappointing that we are prevented from being involved in what is a community celebration.
Danny Argent is the Promotions and Marketing Director at Fuel. He says venues like his help to support the LGBT community throughout the year, but they've all been forgotten at the most important event of the year.
We've spent the last 3 to 4 years working with Pride very directly. Personally, I was a trustee for some time, so we've really invested a huge amount of energy, a huge amount of time bringing Pride from actually what was previously private ownership back to the community. We made a really strong point that it needs to be a really community-focused organisation. It needs to be open, transparent, have AGMs, be a charity and so forth. And we've been a driving force in that for such a long period of time. And now we've come to this last 12 months where it's been coming up to City of Culture year, where this money and this external support is going to be coming, whereas before Pride relied on the venues, relied on the community to make it happen. Now basically we've become superfluous. It's a real kick in the teeth. It's gone from being something that the whole community has come together to organise to something where a small group of people with their limited perspectives and a whole pot of money from the council are making decisions for the entire community, and that's not fair.
Well, Danny outlines the importance of venues being involved.
The social aspect of the scene is really the beating heart of the community, and it has been for decades, since the gay rights movement started, and before, to be honest. It was the meeting places of people that were LGBT, where you could actually feel safe and secure, a place where you could meet friends that were like-minded, a place where you could go and feel at home. To not have those venues, those people, those bar teams, those groups of friends involved in a Pride event, it just rips out some of the social aspect of the whole event.
Well, listening to that and joining me now in the studio is Colin Wilson, one of the trustees of Pride in Hull. Thanks for coming in. Nice to see you.
Thank you, Blair.
Why have you left these people out?
I'm not sure that we've left anyone out.
Well, they certainly feel left out.
I understand they feel left out, and we met with the venues last week, actually, and it became very clear how they feel, and we do understand a lot of that strength of feeling. I mean, we have listened to what they've said previously, last week in particular, trying to learn from that and take steps in the future to make Pride next year, I guess, more accessible to them.
But wouldn't it have been most important to them, particularly for these venues, as Hull celebrates its year in the spotlight of 2017, to have been included in this?
Yeah, absolutely. But I just need to make something clear. In the trustee group's position, we've not excluded anyone. And I just need to make another point clear, because I saw something on social media over the weekend, make it absolutely crystal clear that nobody's banned from Pride. It's a fully inclusive event. But back to the venues, I personally don't feel that they have been excluded. The trustee group don't feel they've been excluded. It is an open door. We have regular meetings where people attend that are non-trustees. We have this organisers group, which are the majority of the meetings now, where people from all aspects of the community join in, and they would be just as welcome at those if they wanted to get involved with us as anyone else.
But one of the points I think that Claire Simpson was making from Fuel was saying that in years gone by, the trustees have almost been reliant on local venues to help raise funds to keep this event going. Now, when funds this year have come from other areas as well, it's almost as if they're not as important as they once were. But next year, of course, when those funds dry up, you'll be back.
Well, I need to just dispute about the funds situation. There's been no big golden pot of money from any of the organisations that have been mentioned in these complaints. By far and away, and I would say I'm just slightly guessing here, but around 75% has been raised of our fundraising has been raised through private commercial sponsorship, of which undoubtedly the venues that you've mentioned have been involved in previous years, very much so. We would dearly love them to be involved in this year, frankly, but they have told us, Fuel in particular, have told us that they didn't want to be involved in the organisation of Pride this year. They were interested in taking one of the bars, and we went through a tendering process for that.
Do you admit now that perhaps the trustees could have handled things better this year?
Yes. Yeah, happy to take that on board, and I think the trustees could have handled things better and listened more. I think I started by trying to say, it was a very impassioned meeting last week, and it was very, very clear how upset people were, and we need and want very much to learn from that so that it isn't repeated. So yes, is the answer to your question. We've heard that message and we are listening to it very closely.
And there are ways for which these clubs can be involved still for 2017?
We'd dearly love that. We'd love to have conversations about how they can be involved for 2017 and keep that communication open. We've only got 2.5 weeks to go, I guess. Not long, but we'd be very happy to talk. If anybody wants to contact us, we will happily meet with them, engage in whatever way we can.
Okay. Good to see you, Colin. Thank you very much indeed for coming in.
Thanks, Blair.
Colin Wilson, one of the trustees of Pride in Hull.